What's up, everyone? Welcome back. Good evening. Sorry for the delay. Today a little bit later, half an hour later. So, how's everyone? How was your trading day? Welcome back, everyone. If you are new, feel free to subscribe. So basically, in this session, as you know, we are going to be looking at what you can expect for tomorrow. Like, so we are going to be looking at where we're going to see of identify the best opportunities to take advantage for tomorrow trading session. That's why it's a market analysis. I think this is a good routine for everyone to do it. Preparation above everything else, because this helps you to actually identify the best opportunities, and it's going to stop with some trading mistakes that many people do, which is being more reactive instead of being proactive. So this week, as you know, is the first week of December. As always, first week of the month, it's all about NFP and the labor market in the US, and we start having that data being released today. We had the job openings today. It was slightly better than expected, but nothing special. And if you take a look at the chart, we see that we are in a downtrend in here. So we'll see. There's still a long way for turning. We do need to see a few data points being positive, and first and foremost to go above again the 8 million new jobs. We are basically at the same level where we were before COVID, like at around the end of 2019, beginning of 2020. We are back at that level, so kind of back to normality. So we'll see where we're going to go towards to in the next few months. This is just the first one. Tomorrow we're going to have ADP non-farm payroll, and then we're going to be looking at the NFP on Friday. So tomorrow is going to be a little bit of a busy day. ADP and non-farm payroll, services PMI, and we're going to have the Fetcher Powell also speaking somewhere in New York, if not mistaken. Yes, it's going to be in New York. New York Times, in this case. It has been a while since we heard from him, so let's see if we're going to have any update. Again, you're going to have a meeting, or the last FOMC meeting of the year, in 2 weeks from now, on the 18th of December. So we are now. I want to hear from him to see if we're going to have another cut or not during this month. At this point, the market is pricing in 74% the odds for another 25 basis points rate cut in still in this year. With that being said, we're going to look at the market, right? And it was a little bit of a wrenching day today, not really much. And sometimes it happens, and that is impatient for the NFP. Sometimes that's exactly what we have. Price doesn't really move that much sometimes until Friday. Some other times you do have quite a lot of volatility, and price may be moving away, getting into new areas before even the NFP day. So that may happen tomorrow. Maybe tomorrow we're going to have a little bit of momentum. At this point, Monday it was slightly higher, Tuesday literally in a range. So maybe tomorrow we're going to have a little bit of direction in here. Nothing has changed from what we were looking. We started the week, if you guys recall, during the weekly market analysis that we do on Sundays. The question mark was, are we going to have a double top being created on the dollar index, and price is going to move down from here, or price eventually when it returns to this level is going to just continue to move to the upside? And that was basically the question mark that we have at this point in here. While on the euro dollar, I still don't really see an engulf to the upside, meaning that price is ready to start moving to the upside. On the dollar index, I do like the break of this one. Like the break of this one opens the door a little bit for price to move to the downside, with the potential to go all the way back, at least into closer to this range in here. All right, so that engulf down in here, start open door for price to go a little bit lower. Again, in the bigger picture, we are actually more like this. Okay, this value here was actually broken to the upside, so that's still what we're going to be looking for, bigger picture. But before that, it's totally normal to have a little bit of a retracement before price moves to them, or continues to move to the upside. So we will see what's going to happen. In terms of levels, yes, this is still kind of a fresh zone in here. If prices want to get back or close to this level, we definitely can look for price to potentially react from this level, if that's the intention of the dollar index. Otherwise, you may continue to move lower, and then you are looking for price maybe to get closer to one of these levels in here. If price just starts breaking to the upside, that's the question mark. As I mentioned, is price ready to kind of respect something in here or not? We already have this high in here kind of being broken, so even in this level in here, we can start looking a little bit more to the upside. Price keeps respecting this zone in here. We could have one more push down and then price moving to the upside in here. So that could be one of the plays, or the opposite, prices breaks it and now it just continues, and prices should just continues to move to the downside from here. So there are a few scenarios that you can look at. Another scenario, for example, is that yes, this is an move to downside, but from here price actually is ready to make that deeper retracement, and from here then, depending on how price reacts, maybe you can have that push down as well. So there are a few scenarios in here that you can pay attention to. I think more important is try to identify the levels that you want to participate, and then try to see if you have those confirmations that price is maybe ready to move, and then you can take those trades. Being aware where the risks are, or where the targets can be in terms of in terms of where do you want to place those take profit along the way. So that's a little bit on the dollar, a little bit indecision. You can see some breaks, you can see some opening in terms of space. And aside from that, we'll see. Moving along, and we go into the US indices, right? So we start having that attempt to move to downside a little bit in here on the S&P. Again, we have been breaking all-time highs. Price is doing exactly that, and we have this range, right? Again, this range is literally screaming for price to be, for kind of the highs to be taken, right? You want to be looking for price to fake out that level and eventually move to the downside. Did price even manage to break this level? Maybe did, maybe didn't. Yeah, it looks like it did by a little bit. Perfect. That's exactly what you want to look for as well. So yeah, let it go higher. Now let's take the highs. Let's literally break out the structure, and then perhaps we can start moving or kind of finding that that potential reversal. Right. So that's exactly what you want to be looking for in here. But of course, we don't really know where it's going to be the top in here. Price can maybe just make a small fake out and push lower, or price can actually gain momentum, respect this level now as a breakout, and continue to go slightly higher before potentially have a little bit more of a turn in here to the downside. So we will see. So we just continue to track. We want to look for weakness. Weakness means we want to see price breaking structure, in this case to the downside, and that's kind of what you're going to be looking for. So that's more of what you're going to be seeing in here. Nasdaq actually had a few opportunities to look for a sell today, but overall the structure or the level that we want to look for is still in here. Now, did we manage to break it? I do think that we actually respect it. Let me just be a little bit more precise with this one. In case we actually manage to break it, now we are looking at the 30-minute time frame. For sure, if I go into the lower time frame, there's maybe a better structure in there. Yeah, it looks like that we managed to break. Okay, let's literally be precise in here. 1 second. Let's literally be precise. So the low in here is 21098. 21098. What was the other number? 0.3. All right. Okay. And the low in here is, yeah, this one was actually 0.0, this one is 0.3, so it actually moved to the downside. There's a small move there. Now in the overtime frame, maybe it wasn't, okay, but I like to use that as a reference. Then of course we have the other one in there that we also need to track. So yeah, so that's something to pay attention at this point. Now the other indices already broke all-time highs one more time, and Nasdaq hasn't really done that, and I'll be surprised if you don't. All right, I'll be surprised if you actually don't manage to take the highs before moving to the downside, but it's something also that you can keep an eye on. So again, the idea at this point is to be for price to perhaps take that level and then start pushing to the downside. If that's the idea, we want to see which of these lows been taken at this point. Otherwise, price may just react and continue to push higher. If price starts breaking in here, of course, then we do have this next level as a reference in here that we need to pay attention to. Otherwise, price starts to breaking, and I think there starts to be all this price in here to go down. We even have this already breaking there. There's a lot of compression here. Yeah, all of a sudden we could eventually feel finally this price. But for now, again, we need to pay attention. Let's wait for price to take the highs. I think that's more of what I'm going to be waiting in here, and then we'll see. Yeah, then we'll see what's going to happen. But that's more of the play that I'm going to be waiting in here on Nasdaq. Dow is already kind of moving a little bit, so we're looking for price to have that reaction. Basically, price is reacting right now today, and you even have a little bit of this gap that price eventually can go towards to. But yeah, Dow is already creating that pattern, that reversal a little bit. There's maybe even orders to be kind of feel perhaps a little bit higher in here. Maybe this highs in here didn't even react from it, so perhaps there's still maybe an order in there for price to potentially go react one more time and then push the downside. And if you start breaking below this lows, you can start opening a little bit more the space to the downside in here as well. And then we have DAX, and DAX is quite interesting. So DAX as well quite aggressively breaking new all-time highs yesterday, and today it starts to, there you go, starts to respect the levels. Like, so we go higher a little bit, but then price basically comes all the way back, respect the demand zone, and now pushing to the upside. So that's exactly what you want to see. You want to see price now kind of starting to have deeper retracements before eventually potentially turning in here, right? So that's a little bit what we're going to be looking for. Again, as I mentioned, one of these traditional targets that we're going to be looking for any short in here on the DAX is going to be basically the retest back into the previous all-time high. So that's potentially another opportunity to look for in here. But before that, we definitely need to see these lows being taken for price to start opening the door to go further down. Maybe there's initial reaction that you can expect from here, and then price eventually can go. But for now, we are going to be looking for DAX to take these highs in here before moving to the other side. So yeah, there you go. That's going to be looking again, good reaction from this demand zone. Let it go. I like this double top. I like that price is starting to be attracted into that level, and then you can look for something like this, right? So we'll see, right? Let's see what's going to happen here. Something that we don't really have yet is a proper break to the downside, so that's still going to happen. Needs to happen before a deeper reversal. Did manage to slightly break below that level, but that's not exactly enough in here. So yes, we do need a break to the downside first as well before even then looking for a much bigger reversal. But price can start losing some momentum after this big push up. Again, not really sure why or how the DAX continues to just be so bullish in here when the economy in Germany is just struggling, and in the Eurozone in general. Moving along, we go into Bitcoin, right? So Bitcoin, perfect reaction yesterday, kind of evoked at that one, and there you go. That was the target that we were looking for in here on BTC, and price reacted from it quite nicely. Like really good reaction from that level. Perhaps price could even continue to move a little bit more to the downside, but for now it closed on all the spaces. Again, price kind of broke that level, opened the door to go into here. Great reaction. Before that, it already reacted from there, right? So what's going on in here is that price start to have a lot of structure being created at around these levels, right? And again, if this was on any other asset, it kind of starts to scream for price to literally take all these highs and potentially then move to the downside, or potentially just work as a breakout setup and push high, right? But because it's Bitcoin, because it's 100k, kind of it creates this kind of sentimental level that everyone is looking for, which makes it interesting. Like on the side for net, of course, we are at all-time high, so there's no history on the left side to anticipate or to look for anything else aside from what we have in here, which makes it trickier to trade. But yeah, like the sentiment at this point as well, like even today I heard someone saying that it looks like that maybe Bitcoin is ready to move to the downside just because price has been keep respecting these highs in here. And that's maybe exactly what the market wants everyone to feel, right? When you start getting a barrier like this, basically a level of resistance, the sentiment starts to be, okay, looks like that price is not really going to the upside. It looks like that maybe price is starting to push, and that makes everyone starting to look for sales in here, right? So everyone that was super excited, enthusiastic that price will finally go and break all-time highs not all-time high, sorry, to break this 100k level like a couple of weeks ago. All of a sudden, right now, they are starting to kind of lose the enthusiasm, and they start being actually maybe frustrated, or starting to shift their own bias, starting to actually think that market is ready to move to the downside. And maybe that's exactly what the market wants us to behave or to feel and to think about when you're looking at Bitcoin. Like to lose this enthusiasm, to lose this trust that maybe price is actually ready to go all the way, like to actually maybe start to see people and investors, traders, start flipping their opinion and starting to think about selling or pushing to the downside. And maybe that's when, maybe in that moment, that's when you're going to actually have price moving to the upside and finally breaking this level, right? That's a way that the market uses to play around with our emotions in this situation. Like you go from excitement to start being a little bit frustrated, and then kind of to almost give up on your original idea and start flipping your own bias, and all of a sudden that's when the market actually surprises everyone and does the opposite. Yeah, so that's an interesting one in here on the on Bitcoin. Again, we are still within that range. I still like the idea that I kind of forecasted 10 days ago or so. So we'll see if that eventually is going to play out. Ethereum is another one. Like, so Ethereum, we had been waiting for price actually to respect that that level. That was a perfect one that price was left behind, and now price is reacting from it. All right, and then what we mentioned was that to look to see if price was about to break this level, then it starts opening doors to the downside, and that's exactly what we looked for in here. Right, so Ethereum did manage to break below that level, which starts, as I mentioned, open the door for price to go further down. Now, I do like still this level at the highs, at this level in here, that price can still come all the way back, react from it, and push downside. I think that can be an interesting sell opportunity that you can look for in here on Ethereum. Price may not really need to do that, all right? Price may just actually respect something in here before actually moving to downside. So if I was about to do the position here, kind of to be a little bit higher, right, I would actually like to see Ethereum reacting a little bit closer to that zone. And in addition to that, yeah, and then in addition to that, we could start looking for those sales. Another point is, if price by any chance still wants to go slightly higher than this high before moving to downside, like, is there anything in here that maybe price could go slightly higher, even fake out this high before a push to downside? Perhaps, but I am already kind of okay where actually price is reacting from, which means that I wouldn't mind to actually start looking for those sells from here, depending on how price approaches. And if this is actually the low, if price doesn't really create any other low from here, I kind of like it. I like this, one of my favorite engulfs to the downside. In here, it's kind of just a quick move, take the low, and then start reversing. That's perfect. The reason for price to actually break this structure is kind of as an engulf. Yeah, so that makes it a really interesting level, and I'll definitely starting to look for potential sells in here on Ethereum for price to perhaps get closer to this level in here, and then eventually can even go closer to this level before price aiming to go higher again. So that's one that I'll be paying attention to. Solana came all the way deeper into the demand zone in here, so we'll see also what's going to happen from there. And you can look at Ethereum, Bitcoin as well. Again, we predicted that move, like we looked for that move in here, and price kind of reacted from that scenario. So we'll see what's going to happen next from around this level in here, right? That's a little bit of the target that I'm looking for. So let's see if Ethereum actually gets there or not. We're going to have a little bit of retracement before getting there. Looking at the Euro index, the other currency indices, starting with the Euro index. As you know, I really like to analyze this level or this pair. So we have price basically, again, it looks that's still bearish, all right? We still need to see a proper turn in here on the Euro index, even though we did manage to break that high. So that's something, but we haven't really managed to go a little bit more into that level. Again, I'm still bearish, but I'm curious to see how price may react around this level. All right, if by any chance price has any intentions to actually start looking for longs from here, I would like to see that happening after perhaps price comes a little bit farther and takes actually this low in here, kind of gets into this space in there, and then it can start moving to the upside. Okay, maybe you can start tracking some kind of trend line in here. I do like that maybe price started to create a certain kind of double bottom from around that level, and you start having a little bit of this range that you can look for. So that's something that I'll be paying attention at this point. Try to see if we do have that move. So let me set up an alert as well in here. When you do have that price, that move in here on the Euro index, to see if then you get a good reaction or price moving to the upside, or it's going to be just a continuation until eventually price gets to that level. So that's going to be my take and what I'm going to be looking for in here on the Euro index, which goes in alignment with the other Euro pairs. The Yen index, this is the one that we are going to be looking, or that we have been looking potentially now for a sell, and price is actually reacting really nicely so far from here. All right, so we had that move yesterday. We did talk about this initial move that price was going in here. Really good reaction from this demand zone, and then price just made another leg up, and then we'll see. All right, we'll see what's going to happen now, but it looks like that this yen index may start to lose a little bit of momentum. Again, it has been quite bullish for quite a few days, and price basically is approaching this level. It could go even closer to that level. I would not reject that idea, but price for now is reacting from this supply in here. Right, it's a little bit in alignment also with that left shoulder, and it looks like that price actually is starting to see some weakness in here, and which means that the other yen pairs we are actually looking for longs, and it makes a little bit of sense as well from where price is reacting. So I do like this idea. I think price could actually react from here. Now we do need definitely to see a break to the downside. All right, price respected really nice with that level, so I do think that they are going to have some PA at around this level in here. I'm not sure if there's any kind of news tomorrow in Japan that can affect the market. Tuesday, Wednesday, 1 second. And now we have GDP in Australia, so that's nice to maybe expect some movement. And then you have services PMI across the world. Yeah, not exactly anything in Japan. All right, so yeah, not exactly anything in there. All right, so what you're going to be looking then in here is, yeah, that possibility of shorts in here and longs on the yen pairs. Now let's take a look into the individual currency pairs. All right, so if you get into here, oh, okay, the euro is moving to the downside, so nothing really has changed in here. All right, so we do have that. I think this high in here was one of the levels that I was looking to see how price would react from, in terms of breaking or not above. We talked about that exact level on the dollar, sorry, on the pound dollar, that price is already reacting from here, while the euro dollar just kept reacting from the zone underneath. And we have this range, right? We have this range in here. As I mentioned, on the dollar index, I think I prefer much more the engulfed kind of to the upside in here, but the question mark is still the same. We asked on the dollar index, is price going to respect that double top, right? So we need to ask the same question: is the euro dollar going to respect this double bottom? And we'll see, right? We'll see what's going to happen from this level. At this point, price is in the middle. I don't really care at all what price is going to be doing in here. This is not the range that I want to be trading. I want to look for price more at the extreme levels. I do see still potentially sell orders around this level, so that's something that we can potentially look at. Okay, I think that's still fresh. If price does want to continue to respect this highs, it can, and price can continue to move a little bit more to the downside. Now this level, it's respected really nicely with that demand zone, but in the bigger picture of looking at what you're looking in here, I think this is a continuation potentially to the downside. Now we could have that deeper retracement first before moving down, but I think euro dollar is still bearish in here, and potentially the next target, or one of the targets, could be this next zone in here, where you can actually have a little bit more of a deeper retracement to the upside. So yeah, apparently at this point we are finding some yeah, apparently the dollar now is moving to the upside. Pound, more of the same as well. So as you mentioned, pound already kind of broke that level, but it's reacting from this level in here. Nice reaction. initial move to downside, basically price reacting from this previous level support resistance. Again, it's still not a level that I'm going to be really interested in participating in here in the market. Again, I just want to trade the extremes. Last week we talked about those setups that played out really nicely and price moved to the upside. Now it's kind of wait and see what price is going to do next from here. So we'll see. Again, on the pound dollar, I do like maybe the level where price is reacting. Again, you can even fake out one more time before pushing higher. But for now, I think it's kind of okay. So we'll see what's going to happen even at around those levels in there. Yeah, so that's a little bit of what we have. Then looking at the euro pound, like euro pound just continues also to be within this range. Maybe could fake out all these lows before potentially moving to the upside. So that's a little bit of what I want to be looking for. We can even fake out this low in here as well. So that's something else that we can pay attention in here. So yeah, we'll see. Yeah, we'll see what's going to happen in there. Aussie dollar, yeah, Aussie dollar again yesterday kind of respected that extreme. It's still within this range. Now what we have in here is that we already had that initial engulf to the upside above above all this level, and then you had kind of that fake out in here. Now my problem with the Aussie dollar, opposite to the pound dollar for example, is that I'm not the biggest fan of this level. Like it's such a quick move up and down that I find it sometimes hard to identify the level in there to where price can react from. So I want to see a little bit more of movement. At this point we have all these lows being created, so we could have one last push down before potentially price move to the upside in here. Bear in mind that this low was also already a break of that low in there as well, which means that maybe price may actually want to go all the way through to potentially even fake out this level before aiming to go a little bit higher. And we do have this potentially demand zone just underneath that low, and even maybe underneath that one, that price could react and find some resistance. Overall, price is kind of ranging in between this level for quite a couple of years at this point. So we'll see here on the Aussie dollar, but I don't like it at this point. I don't really like anything in here in terms of looking for longs. I would definitely prefer to see a push a little bit more to the downside. That's just to fake out everything in here before looking for long. Yes, maybe there's another demand zone in here that maybe price can react from, but it's just too many lows in alignment. I just don't like it. So I'm going to be looking for price eventually to fake out that level before looking for any kind of long opportunities in here. And this takes us into the remaining of the Aussie pairs. Okay, so by any chance, if I'm looking for the Aussie dollar to go slightly lower before potentially turning, that means that I would like to see this one also going a little bit higher and then pushing down, which means that the Aussie dollar would be doing something like this. Like, so this is, we are talking about the Euro Aussie in here. Euro Aussie, it was actually a good reaction from this level, so that's really good. Again, price could potentially retest this level one more time before going to the upside again. Right, we definitely fake out all the structures in here, so price could react from this level one more time before aiming. It will be even better if you do by any chance also break this high first, just to give you a further confirmation, but maybe it doesn't really need to. All right, price actually fake out this level, open the door to go there. So with good PA at around this level, that can be potentially enough for price to go. So that's something to bear in mind at around this level in here on the Euro Aussie. But yeah, that's for the future whenever Euro Aussie kind of goes into that price. And then you can look also at New Zealand. All right, New Zealand kept respecting that level, and it looks like it's approaching again these lows. We are reacting from this really nice level in there. All right, we mentioned that we had this fresh level that price could eventually react from. On the other side, this can also be seen a little bit as an engulf to the upside. All right, so that's a little bit of what we have. Now this is kind of a nice reversal. It's not just kind of a move like this, break above and then kind of move to downside. Again, I do like much more when I see this type of engulfs. When price actually creates some structure and then kind of reacts from that level, it can make it more of a bearish sign in here. But we do have these levels that, especially in here, it's literally fresh after that announcement of the interest rate last week. Price didn't really reacted all the way back into this next price, so that's something that we can look for in here. Okay, so I'm going to be curious. I do like still the idea of New Zealand potentially react from from this level and push higher. Again, I do like where price is reacting on the left side. I like a little bit of the weakness that we have seen, so that's going to be what I'm going to be looking for on New Zealand, how price may react from here. If price goes up in here, is there any chance to look for a short in there? Perhaps there is. This level can be also interesting, as you can see price never really reacted from it, so that can also be an interesting zone eventually where price can react from. All right, so again, and all of a sudden we are trending the extremes, which is exactly what I like to do in here. All right, so and then you go into the Aussie yen, right? So Aussie yen, it was a continuation, and now price is actually reacting from that good level. Yesterday it was already reacting from it, and today it's just confirming it again. All right, so if we actually zoomed in here, maybe we can see with more precision where actually price is reacting at this point. All right, basically already took that level, getting a little bit into here. Of course, overall in the bigger picture, you can continue to go a little bit more to the downside, but this looks like kind of a good and interesting level where price could bounce from. And then we can even have all the way in here, right? You can even maybe fake out that low into this level, and price can even react from it. And looking a little bit more in here, right? So we had that push down, then yesterday kind of start to turn, and price just reacted basically this next level. So we still don't really have any break of structure in here. This is just price starting to compress, makes a move down, retraces, goes down, retraces, and starts behaving like that. So we still need to see that proper break. Now, it's nice because we start creating these lows, and anytime kind of start getting that low, that can attract liquidity into it, and we can try to see, right? So we had this VHV push. Of course, we do have this basically demand zone at this extreme, and we have also that structure basically where price is already reacting from at this point. So perhaps price could go back into a little bit of this level. One second. Yep, perfect. We could go back a little bit into this level and then move to the upside in here. So that's something to bear in mind, something to pay attention to at around this level in here. All right. Yeah, definitely. So I'm going to be tracking that one on the Aussie yen. For this to happen as well, again, Aussie yen has been quite correlated, or the stronger currency between these two have been maybe the yen, or it's been following more of what the yen is doing, since we have kind of that Aussie dollar more in the range. But by any chance, if the Aussie dollar all of a sudden gains a little bit of momentum to actually take those lows first and then push higher, maybe the Aussie yen could also follow a little bit of that path before actually moving to the upside, right? So that's something that we can pay attention to. We have this strong trend line in here as well. So again, it has been quite bearish for quite a few days. If you actually look on the daily time frame, as you can see, it has been quite bearish in here after ranging for quite a long time. Again, that was perfect what happened in here in terms of the reverse of the turn, the break to the downside, and opening the spice. So yeah, we'll see. Okay, but it starts to gain a little bit more of strength in here on the Aussie yen. Dollar yen is a bit more of the same. Okay, we continue to see price moving a little bit more further down. And yeah, so we continue to see that happening in here, and I think price could go a little bit lower. Where price is reacting? Okay, price is reacting a little bit from this level. It could compress all the way a little bit, even though this is a daily level kind of in here. Otherwise, it could get a little bit closer to here and perhaps even fake out that low, and only after that, somewhere around here, we could look for a long. All right, so that could be a possibility. Maybe price does want to even go below that level, perhaps reacting from something in here from that demand zone and push the upside. At this point, let's just review one more time. Yeah, price is kind of reacting from that level, so it could go a little bit lower. Again, we are compressing. We paid attention to that move, like that a typical kind of continuation pattern as well. So we'll see. Maybe we can go a little bit lower before moving higher. Again, if the dollar index, so the dollar index, we're looking for potentially for price that could go a little bit lower as well. So maybe this could also help in here with the dollar yen. Then you have euro dollar. Okay, sorry, euro yen. Euro yen, there you go. Now it's actually approaching this lower zone in here, and it looks quite good, to be honest. All right, so we have, just be precise in here. Just delete these ones. I think we can, again, I think the end pairs, I think they're going to be quite interesting and looking for a potential turn in here. So yeah, so we do have this level. All right, we have this Quasimodo level in here with this left shoulder, that low, that looks really nice. In here we actually basically have a double bottom in there that basically price was faked out, and this is definitely a good level. All right, so that's something to bear in mind in here. It's a good demand zone as well where price is reacting, and yeah, you could go. Otherwise price wants to go lower and then go into that level. But for now, I think this actually can be a level on the euro yen where price could find some strength. So that's something to bear in mind. Now we can look a little bit into this lower time frame. Yeah, price even managed to take slightly that level, right? With that small high in there, and yeah, I do like it. I do like that price could create a similar scenario. Okay, could create a similar scenario with Aussie yen. We do have this separation between these lows and that next price in here, basically just a strong bullish candle that was created in there, and we could have it. We could definitely have a reversal in here. Okay, so of course we have this high as a reference, and price could eventually fake out that level and then push to the upside in here. All right, so yeah, basically break a little bit long, more to the upside, and then again eventually the PA that I would like to see from here is for price to go below these lows, do something like that, and then push higher. We're talking about already almost a 40 pips distance between basically that low and whatever is going to happen in here. But that's something to bear in mind. All right, maybe price can also go under test this left shoulder in there. That's something also that we can pay attention to. Yeah, but it starts to look good. This euro yen, you can start looking for a potential long opportunity in here. We did have, again, as I mentioned, that breaking there, so that could be definitely a scenario to pay attention to. Yeah, that could play out a little bit like that. So we'll see what's going to happen in here. Yeah, but I really like it. I really like it. On the end, it's the same. All right, so we had also this trend line. We talked about that level, and price is basically approaching that zone. It can go further down, no doubt about it. All right, but it could fake out at this level and have some kind of reaction from this demand level. We have also some structure here, so that's definitely something to bear in mind and to keep an eye on in here on the pound yen. And yeah, we'll see. Again, is this literally the final zone that price is ready to completely turn from here? I'm not really sure, but we did manage to break this important structure. It's a W level as well, and as a consequence, we can actually start looking for price to move higher. So yeah, we'll see. Yeah, similar to the other ones, we also have this basically a separation in there. We have this level in here to pay attention to, so that's something that we'll be tracking in here on the pound yen, and I think we can have an interesting move. I do like this level. I like that price was kind of showing indication that wants to go high, and all of a sudden it got rejected straight away. Makes it an interesting push up. So yeah, we'll see what's going to happen in here. I'll keep a track on these levels, and maybe tomorrow we have that we have the opportunity to look for that. Hopefully it doesn't happen overnight. Hopefully price actually is going to wait for the London Open before actually turns in there. We can also look at CAD yen. All right, CAD yen is looks like it's also approaching and going slightly below that level, so maybe a little bit more of a new low being created in here could be interesting. Price is definitely starting to lose momentum. You can see all the deep retracements that we have. It's still missing a break of a high, so it's still missing that part. But we could start having a little bit of a reaction from here, and eventually CAD can even go further down as well. But yeah, we'll see. Again, we do have that high, that low in there being created. We start having a little bit of this range. Yeah, it's another one that we can keep an eye on in here. Looking at the dollar card, all right. So dollar card, um, again, yes, we are completely bullish. I think price eventually wants to go slightly higher. We had that reaction last week after the Trump tweet, and now basically price respected the demand zone. So we'll see what's going to happen at around this level. I'm not really curious in trying to look for a long at this point. From where it is, I do see that kind of slightly breakout to the downside, but price, as I mentioned, may want to go slightly higher first before pushing to the downside. So we'll see. I'm curious also to see how price may react from around this level and in here even as well. So that's something that I want to keep an eye on. It's interesting that we did manage to break now this low. So yeah, that's nice without even reacting from the next one. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see price by any chance as any kind of reaction from these left shoulders in here. All right. EuroCAD. What's EuroCAD doing? Yeah, EuroCAD just continues within the same range. I actually didn't really pay attention to EuroCAD last couple of days. Yeah, so it's still within the range. We'll see how price eventually may react from that level. Let's set up an alert in here just to be aware when EuroCAD actually breaks to the downside. I want it higher at this point, so that's basically what I'm going to be looking for in here. Then you can look at the pound CAD as well. So pound CAD just continues. It actually managed already to break these highs in here. I'm curious to see how price may react from that level. So I want to see price taking that structure in here. So we do have price basically, yeah, it reacted from this level, right? So it reacted from this demand zone. So we can continue to push higher from where it is right now. I wouldn't be surprised if that happens. Again, we do have this structure somewhere around here that eventually price can visit and can go towards to. But for now, I think price wants to visit more of this structure here before anything else. So just let it go. Let it continue to go higher in here until it gets closer to that level. And then perhaps in there you can have a little bit more of a retracement in here on the pound CAD. All right. Dollar franc Swiss. We have dollar franc Swiss, which is still at around the same structure. Did manage to break kind of these lows, and I'm still curious to see how price eventually get to that level. We broke this high, so we may have a long opportunity in here for eventual price to push towards that level. So we will see, right? So we will see what's going to happen at around that level. Yeah, if there's going to be any selling opportunity or not from there. Gold, well, gold is just within the range. Like after such a volatility that you had in the last couple of weeks, gold is back at slowing down a little bit, just trading within almost the same range. And if you look at the daily time frame here, basically, as you can see, these last few days has been quite quiet comparing with the previous days in here. It had really big moves up and down. Gold now is slowing down, is maybe accumulating to eventually make the big move. So we'll see which direction that actually is going to be. Again, bigger picture, and it's better to start from there. We did manage to break below that level, but prices respected the structure. I could still see eventually gold getting even closer to that level, or even in here before looking for any shorts. Of course, price can just move down from here, no doubts about it. And on the other side, you do have this extreme as well, where eventually gold could go towards to. Okay, we did manage to break below that level. Starts open door a little bit for price at least to get closer to here. Price never really closed that gap, and then you can go into that zone. So again, there are spaces to go either up or down at this point on gold. You can go both ways, so it makes it a little bit tricky. If you start going into the lower time frame, yeah, maybe you have some trading opportunities within this level. No doubts about it, but yeah, you need to decide where do you want to trade, which kind of battlefield you want to be involved in, and to put your money at risk. Yeah, this is not exactly where I want to do so in here. Even though again, in the lower time frame, you do manage to find some interesting opportunities in there. Then you have silver, which managed to respect again that structure. Actually made a new low in there. Yeah, we'll see from this level. Silver has been respecting this level for quite a long time. Potentially you can have a little bit more of a move to the upside as well. Potentially you can even feel all of this. All right, potentially you can even go all the way there. So we'll see. Yeah, on the other side, I still like this level. So again, if silver wants to go there, then it's going to be my zone of interest. And then we have we have oil, which oil is starting to turn. All right, so we talked about this demand zone in here, and price basically reacted from it and start to show some bullishness. Right, again, oil a long, really strong compression that we had at around this level. Now price basically respecting and pushing to the upside. So today it was a full bullish day in here on oil, and perhaps it can start moving even higher. Such a clear demand zone where price end up reacting from, and yeah, really nice move. Really nice move. It's a bit more overnight when it did manage to create that turn in here with confirmation. But nice move. Can even retest this level. All right, you can even maybe retest this level again and react from it. So that's another zone in here to pay attention to on oil. Target again as normal target can be this level, or eventually you can even go higher, closer to this level in here. Looking at Brent, basically the same thing. Brent actually didn't really reacted from the level, so it still kept some space open in here. All right, and you have seen so many times this happening between Brent and crude oil. And there you go, a push to the upside again. Then the PA is basically the same. You have all this accumulation of lows in here, beautiful fake out, and then price turned. And yeah, we are looking for price to get closer to this level in here on oil, right? So that's a nice one in here. Perfect. So that's basically it. Again, we'll see how price may react from that level. With that being said, we'll see what's going to happen on the dollar index. If there's any direction that price wants to go to gain, on my radar for tomorrow is going to be the N pairs. I think the N pairs are getting into an interesting level that you can have some retracement. In this case, we are looking to go long on the individual yen pairs and maybe short on the yen index. The pound dollar, euro dollar, and so on, and anything related to the dollar index, we need to see a little bit of direction, and maybe tomorrow is going to have that. Okay, so on Monday we had a little bit of a move. Today it was completely flat, so maybe tomorrow we're going to have some direction, and maybe price can start moving a little bit into a level where he wants to be traded on the NFP. So tomorrow we're going to have plenty of news with the services PMI across Europe, and then in the UK, and then in the US. We're going to have also ADP non-farm payroll, and then we're going to have Pedro speaking in the evening. So that's something to keep an eye on. What else? The indices at the all-time highs. I'm expecting one more all-time high being created, at least on S&P and Nasdaq, and then potentially we can start looking for some sells, not before we have new all-time highs being created. And that's basically it. In terms of oil, good move. You can find some resistance a little bit higher. Gold, it's kind of pausing a little bit, maybe until it starts. Maybe it's kind of slowing down until it starts accelerating again into the next big move. With that being said, guys, thank you very much. I'll see you tomorrow. Have a good evening. Bye bye. Thank you. Obrigado.